Grab your art materials and let's do an anatomy study together. I have my finished drawing here displayed on my left, and you're welcome to use it for your reference. I kick off this drawing using a Drawlish Acrylic marker pen. I always like to start out trying to capture a bit of chaos, a bit of energy to kick the drawing off. I also use these marks to give me a really rough guide to where I'm going to put down the figure. I've decided to put this drawing out in normal speed. I'm hoping we can draw together. I'm super curious to know, are you here to draw? Are you here with your materials and tools? Are you here to draw? Or are you just doing your dishes and listening to me chatting while you have this video going in the background? I would really love to know for the purposes of the content, my future content, so I can tailor it a little bit more for the people who are watching, who are with me in this process and developing their drawing skills. I'd love to know. So if you could comment something like here to draw or something like just watching, then I would know who it is that you are that is watching my content. I would know a little bit more about you, and I would know maybe a little bit more about what you want. But today I've decided I'm just going to leave this running in normal speed, and I'm hoping that that means you'll draw with me. I'm working with a makeup sponge using pan pastel here, and the paper I'm using is rice paper. It's Artway rice paper. And I like using Artway rice paper because it just helps me loosen up loads. It comes, I think there's about 50 sheets on a pad, so it's not too expensive per sheet. And if I get things wrong on here, if I get my first marks in all the wrong places, it's easy just to scrap it and start again. And I love having that ease when I start on a drawing, that it's not too serious. I'm just practicing. If it goes bad, if it goes wrong, that's fine. I just do it again. And I would encourage you to do the same. Get some paper that you're not too precious about. But I do like this rice paper because it just has a bit of a tooth to it. So it grabs on to my sponges, and I feel like there's something to work with. If it's too flat and there's no texture, I find it maybe a little bit boring to work with. So I like there to be some texture at least. Here I'm using a sketch sponge wiper with the pan pastel. It's really fun using these tools, and I love the soft feeling of it. Almost like you're sculpting in smoke. So it just really suits my personality working with these. And if you haven't got a set of these yet, I would definitely recommend you get your hands on those. I'm putting in a bit of dark into the darkest parts of this figure and just trying to loosely capture the gesture in this figure as well. I tend to really love these early stages of the drawing where nothing has become too literal yet. It's all a little bit vague and open-ended. And I think if I was at this point now, I'm recording this audio after I've done the drawing because I prefer doing it that way. But if I had my time again with this drawing, I would probably think about just adding details in right around the chest and really leaving the arms to fade out towards the top and leave the bottom of the drawing quite faded as it is now as well, but just adding in that anatomy, the detail in the anatomy right around the chest. For me, this process is a lot about not overthinking. I think if I've learned anything that I would love to pass on, it's just to keep practicing every day, and don't overthink it when you're practicing. Don't take forever choosing your reference, and don't get stuck in a drawing. I would really encourage you just to do the same drawing again and again, and just start playing around with breaking it up and breaking it apart more and more, and allowing it to kind of become more and more abstracted. And I think that there's something about just really letting intuition take over and just going with the flow. And I don't know about you, but I just really need to deal with my perfectionism constantly and just allow myself to explore and make mistakes and just start again. And sometimes you just really need to walk away from a picture and come back, and you realize that what you've done is actually pretty good. I think it's about trying to get to that point where you are opening up yourself to become a channel for your creativity, where you can just allow it to flow through you and just stop resisting the process. But I just so believe in practicing a bit like a musician, where you keep doing the same thing over and over, and slowly in increments you enable yourself to allow for something to flow through you, and you start to flow with the music as well. You know how sometimes a famous musician will say that the song was already there, they were just there to allow the thing to come through? I'm really interested in drawing and painting from that sort of intuitive perspective, and just allowing the ideas to come through. But for us to be able to do that, I just think it's so important to stay in touch with your art form, or just in touch with your creativity in whichever way you can. And for me right now, drawing is definitely the way that it's just so easy. It doesn't require a lot. You can do it wherever you are. You can stay in touch with your creativity, and you can keep that moving. And a lot of the times it'll be probably 20 drawings that are maybe not directly bad, but they are just not that interesting before you suddenly capture something that makes you say, wow, that's what I was trying to do, or there's just something about this one that really works. I just think it's so important to just stay faithful to your creativity and just give it that little airtime every day. Just use your creativity, express your creativity, and don't be down on yourself. Don't criticize it. Just allow it to free expression and complete freedom from anything negative. Just allow yourself to have that time with your drawing. It doesn't have to come out good. As long as you were there and you did it, that's the main thing. I think of it as preparation for your great idea. The idea might not be there just yet, but to just working that muscle, working your skill, figuring out your style, just finding out what you like. Just keep using your creative brain. If you keep doing this, you'll be ready that day when that idea comes along that you were meant to grasp, that you were meant to have, that artwork. You'll be ready for it when it comes. Well, now that I have given you a little pep talk, I hope that you are ready to do some drawing and start again. Just do the thing again and again. And let's put some music on and let's just draw together. I think it's all about getting lost in the process and just enjoying it, not being too hard on yourself. In fact, every time you sit down and you are drawing, you should speak to yourself kindly, encourage yourself, and don't forget to compliment yourself how great it is that you are taking your creativity seriously. You've sat yourself down and you're doing it. So I will put on some music in the background and just leave this drawing going. Hope you will stay with me for the full length of this session and just have a really peaceful, lovely time drawing. I had an interesting experience at uni actually. It was my coming up to my degree show, and I had been working quite a bit with water as an element in my sculptures. And for my degree show, I was working with abstracting musical instruments and playing around with that idea. So I put together this grand piano shaped sculpture. It was on the floor and I waterproofed it and ended up filling it up with water. I also did sound installation as a part of that. And it was very interesting because someone came by and told me there's actually someone at LCC, London College of Communication, who's done a similar sculpture filled with it's also a grand piano filled with water. And I thought that sounded really great. And apparently this person had also created it so that you could play the piano. If you touched the water, you would release sensors that released the sound. So he was reminded of that when he saw my my piano on the floor with the water. I thought that sounded amazing. And the most interesting thing about this story was that this person who had created this other piano was actually a really good friend of mine who went to the same church. We'd been apart for the time and had not, neither of us knew what the other one was working on for our end of year show. But as it turns out, he was also working on a piano filled with water, completely separate, but somehow we were synchronized. I just thought that was a really interesting thought, or an interesting experience when you're talking about being a channel for ideas, that maybe the ideas are not inside of us, maybe they are outside of us, and we tap into it and we just become a vessel for these ideas to find an expression. Anyway, I thought that was a really cool little story to share here on this subject of channeling your art and preparing yourself to receive ideas. And I guess that brings me to my point with this video, which is let's keep practicing and preparing ourselves for receiving ideas, and just come at your art with a lightness so that when the idea comes to you, that it's absolutely ready to flow through you and it can really find a beautiful expression in you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you'll come back for more content on my channel. I want to encourage you to subscribe to my email list below. I'm giving away a drawing in January, and I would love for you to be the one to receive it. I'll do a little draw between all the people on my email list. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you got a great drawing out of it. Take care and all the best. Bye.